Good afternoon. So glad you're with us here on a Monday. Hope it's been a great start to the week. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence, and we're going to get to that big winter weather system headed our way this week in just a few minutes. But also ahead, what was your favorite Super Bowl commercial, right?
Yeah, a lot of people talking about that today. We're going to be breaking down the ads everybody's talking about.
Yes, and also what makes them so effective.
But first, we want to get to the headlines. Work is about to get underway on Indy's newest rapid bus line.
The Blue Line will stretch 24 miles from Cumberland all the way to Indianapolis Airport. And the project is estimated to cost more than $385 million, along with years of construction for drivers and businesses. Our Marion County reporter Lauren Kostick has the timeline and who will be impacted.
Indigo says construction will start in 3 separate areas over the next few months, including right here in downtown along Washington Street, all with the goal of connecting the east side to the west side.
One lane inbound.
On Monday, Indigo hosted its first open house for the Blue Line, allowing the community to ask about construction closures and bus detours.
I think it's going to be really transformative for the east side specifically, the west side also. I'm really excited to have an option to the airport that's more frequent and quicker.
The project comes after years of planning and pushback. Just last year, the Blue Line was in danger after a bill at the State House tried to ban dedicated bus lanes. Now, Indigo is full steam ahead.
Yeah, this is a long time coming, and we finally are at the point where we feel like we can take that sigh of relief as we look to groundbreaking here at the end of the month.
The project is divided into 12 sections spanning 24 miles. It will connect Cumberland to the airport with 30 stops in between. The project will also bring miles of repaved roads, new sidewalks, and crosswalks.
Construction will be starting downtown around the Carson Transit Center, Victory Field, the Convention Center area, and then we'll also be starting around that same time in the Irvington area and then down in the Cumberland area.
As Indigo prepares for this massive project, transit ambassadors are also reminding the community to be informed.
I think it's really important to be able to come and ask questions and, maybe clear up any misconceptions that you might have.
And the goal is to wrap up construction sometime in 2028 with a total cost of $387 million. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
All right, so there was an open house earlier today. There's another one this evening, and we have a list of all the meetings happening this week on our website, including a virtual option on next Monday, a week from today.
And you can also find a link to the detour maps and specific construction timelines. That's on our website, WTHR.com. Now to a high-profile trial that is underway right now. Orlando Mitchell is accused of killing his son's mother outside an Indianapolis daycare. Jury selection took place today, and now opening statements are underway. Mitchell is charged with killing Crystal Walton in 2022. Police say he shot Walton after she dropped off her kids at Charity Child Care on Indy's west side. Court records say Walton just dropped off her children at daycare before she was killed in the parking lot. Hours after the shooting, IMPD says Mitchell was involved in a chase and shootout with officers at 10th and Delaware downtown. Now, during that incident, Mitchell was shot and arrested. Months later, Mitchell was being transported for surgery related to that shooting by Marion County Sheriff's Deputy John Durham. While Mitchell was being taken to the hospital from the jail, Deputy Durham was killed. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office also charged Mitchell with Durham's death. Court records say Mitchell is accused of strangling Durham to death in the jail van. All of this happening in July of 2023. Mitchell is also facing murder charges in that case. So we have a crew in the courtroom today. We are going to have more of what happened in court. That's on 13 News at 5.
And in about an hour, President Trump says he plans to announce tariffs on steel and aluminum. This is a developing story we've been following all day. We know Canada produces about a quarter of U.S. steel imports. Mexico supplies some too. Analysts say the upside of these tariffs is that they might actually help domestic producers, but the downside could mean higher prices for Americans. Reporter Julia Benbrook has the latest.
While speaking with reporters on Air Force One over the weekend, President Donald Trump laid out several new policy plans expected to go into effect this week, including a 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum, a decision that could have a big impact on industries like automaking, aerospace, and oil production. During Trump's first administration, he made a similar move, announcing 25% tariffs on steel and 10% tariffs on aluminum. But he did lift those on Mexico and Canada the following year. Separately, Trump has said that he plans to hold a news conference later this week, likely on Tuesday or Wednesday, to announce massive new reciprocal tariffs, which could match other countries' tariffs on U.S. goods, dollar for dollar.
Very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them. That's all.
When is it going to affect?
Almost immediately. But I'll be announcing the details of it, highly detailed, and it'll be great for everybody, including the other countries. But if they are charging us 130% and we're charging them nothing, it's not going to stay that way.
The president has not yet provided many details about how expansive those new tariffs would be or when they'll go into effect. These moves are in addition to the tariffs on Chinese goods that Trump implemented last week, which led China to retaliate with tariffs of its own. And looming over all of it are the tariffs on Mexico and Canada that Trump announced at the same time, but decided to pause after speaking with their leaders. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
All right, so again, that's expected to take place in the next couple hours. And of course, we'll be watching and let you know when there's any new development on it.
And this afternoon, we are hearing from worried families here in Indiana who have children with autism.
They say a newly proposed cap on therapy for their kids could be life-threatening. I want to bring in Samantha Johnson here. She's been looking into what's going on. Let's start with who's proposing these changes, Sam, and why.
Yeah, there's several layers to all of this, so we do want to start with where it's coming from, which is the state's Family and Social Services Administration, also known as FSSA. We're talking about a therapy known as ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis. And from the state's perspective, they say, listen, this could really help us rein in on the increasing Medicaid costs. In fact, the previous Medicaid director said that a cap on programs like this could save the state more than $100 million over the next 2 years. But of course, the other side of this are these ABA clinics. I visited one in Muncie where I met Morgan and her 12-year-old daughter, Melody. ABA is all about helping people with autism overcome the day-to-day challenges and work on life skills and eventually more independence. But this new proposal would essentially cap access to that therapy to just 30 hours a week for 3 years. But Melody, for example, has been going to ABA for almost a decade. So come April 1st, she'd be done. She would have no more eligibility. And Morgan says her daughter is just one of thousands of Indiana children who could be affected.
You know, I'm not only asking you to view it from a representative standpoint, I'm asking you to look at it from a mother's standpoint and a father's standpoint, grandma and grandpa, you know, uncle, aunt.
So the state is accepting feedback now through the end of the week. If you'd like to weigh in, if the changes are approved, that cap would take effect April 1st. Now, Morgan's message there was obviously every child with autism is different. No two are the same. She's hoping that people will recognize that, yes, 3 years of ABA might be enough for one child, but it might not nearly be enough for another. It's detailed. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot of information. So we'll have more for you coming up tonight at 5:30.
Dealing with dollars and cents and tough decisions, but you know, as these parents say, you're also dealing with lives.
Yeah. Well, the only way you can look at this is from the perspective of a mother. I mean, my goodness, she's trying to provide a certain level of care for her child.
Yeah, more to come.
All right. We'll see you at 5:30, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Sean. We after the Super Bowl.
We made it. We're here. Here we are. Yeah.
Look, everyone's speechless.
Here we are.
Actually, you've got a lot to talk about, don't you?
We really do. Yeah, we've got a couple of systems the first half of the week, and then we got a third coming at us on the weekend here. The brunt of the first two, not all, but the brunt may split a good portion of central Indiana. Let's start with the first one that's prompted winter storm warnings around Kentuckiana, central parts of Kentucky. And just south of Cincinnati here. If you're traveling south, 65 into Louisville tomorrow, winter storm warning there. And as far north as Seymour, Bedford, an inch or two is possible. It's more likely as you get down toward Jeffersonville, Floyd's Knobs, 2 to 4 inches or more. And maybe a little light snow action, Greensburg, Shelbyville, probably just south of I-70. That's the first system. Nothing doing here this evening, quiet. Temperatures in the middle and upper 30s, cloud cover on the increase. We start tomorrow mostly dry. You can see all the action over the southern third of the state here. Then we'll get into the middle part of the week. Wednesday morning will start dry. It will not finish that way. We are going to have everything, including the kitchen sink here, with this weather system coming in. So I'm going to dive into this one, talk about the impacts of that, and look ahead to the one of the weekend coming up. And a lot going on. 7-day forecast has 3 systems. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Ooh, the kitchen sink too.
Yep.
All right.